Hey guys, it's Evan Bourcier, and I am back for the first time after what feels like a extended hiatus from doing any of these sorts of vlogs publicly on YouTube, but I'm getting back into it. Hopefully it is helpful to people, and hopefully I do a good job, so we'll see. But I did just want to quickly contextualize, if you sort of have been subscribed and wondering where I've been for the last few months. I've been doing a combo of a lot of real work, which for me is commercial filmmaking, so a lot of traveling around the country on various shoots and just sort of getting to work on cool projects, which has been an awesome year. It's been the best year that I've ever had, for sure. Gotten to work with some really talented people and make some really cool stuff, so I'm super thankful for that. And then I've also been doing a lot of work over on Patreon, and Patreon is sort of where I've focused a lot of my efforts on video content creation from an education standpoint. So if you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it and you want to support it, Patreon's a great way to do that. Plus you get access to all kinds of stuff that I don't really do publicly on YouTube, partially because it doesn't do well on YouTube. So I've made some Patreon videos public, but we've been doing a lot of cool stuff with like live director breakdowns, going back through projects I've done, and we'll just talk about conception to the end of a project for like an hour on there. Or I'll break down lighting and budgets and my own rates and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see more of that, go check it out at patreon.com/eBourcier. But that's not the focus of today's video. I want to talk about the idea of copying other people. So it's an idea that people get really sensitive about, and I feel like it comes up every once in a while that I'll see someone sort of salty towards new filmmakers and just being like, oh, well, you know, they're doing the like trendy thing and like copying whatever the new hot technique is, and I get it. But I also think that that attitude is sort of nonsense. And so I want to quickly preface this by saying that I do not think that stealing other people's ideas is right or good. I do not think that as professionals we should be aiming to rip off each other's work. But I think that for new people entering the industry, finding their voice as filmmakers, copying other people is a very critical part of the process. And that's really the premise for me of this thought is, you know, if we turn the corner real quick and take music as our analogy to film, you want to become a musician, and the way that you learn to be a musician is usually by learning songs that other people have written, and you take your guitar, your drum set or whatever, and you learn how to do exactly what they're doing, and you learn the theory behind it in the process, and you get to understand how it makes you feel, and you know, why quarter notes and eighth notes and all these kinds of things. And then usually after a few years, for a lot of people, of playing other people's music, you start to delve into making your own music. And now that you have an understanding of the language and an understanding of like how people structure things, and you've sort of built a more well-rounded pool of influences for yourself, you are now educated to make your own music. And I think filmmaking is exactly the same way. So you get into filmmaking usually because there's something that you really like, whether it's a movie or a YouTube channel or whatever else, or maybe there's a couple different things and you're like, I want to make stuff. And so usually you start by making stuff that looks very much like the things that you already are into. Often it's not a perfect representation of that, and maybe it's the best you can do, but you're trying to make something that you like, and you don't really have a developed voice for like exactly what you would want to make in a, you know, perfect world. That takes time to develop, so you just make what's in front of you. And I get that, I understand that, and I encourage people to do that. So if you see a video that myself or someone else or Ryan Booth or whoever makes and you really like it, I understand the desire to like make something similar, and I consider that flattering. And yeah, I don't know, I just think that's part of the process. But the other half of that equation is that I think that as you develop your voice and as you start to understand what you like and what you want to do and sort of what just really excites you, I think that we should always push to make stuff that's unique to us, and we should always take ideas and see if we can bring a new spin to them and see what we can do to make something fresh. There are very few truly original ideas left to be made in the film space at this point, but you can always add something to make it just a little bit different. And so maybe you're taking a one-shot music video, but you're adding a spin to it, or you're gonna take a buddy cop film and you're gonna, you know, find a way to make it a little different. But just doing whatever you can, whether story-wise or visually, structurally, to just put your flavor into whatever you're making, it really helps push the art forward. And that's what all of us are doing, is we're taking ideas that people have made in the past most of the time, and we're just saying yes and putting our own little addition to that project. So I say all this as an encouragement to everyone who's going out there to make stuff, and if you're making something that seems similar to someone else, don't get too self-conscious about it, but see what you can do to make it unique to yourself, and maybe even see if you can identify what it is about that you most appreciate, because maybe you like the project or the finished piece, but there's usually something inside of there that is the most compelling part of that piece to you. And it's not just that you want to make this thing again, but you want to make stories that are about this, or you're inclined towards visuals that have this sort of thing going on. Maybe it's negative space, or maybe it's exposure or color or whatever it is, but try and break it down and look at what it is that actually is exciting you about that project, and then figure out how you can bring that thing to other projects, and then all those things jumbled together, all our influences, our ideas as creative people, and we come to make hopefully good work at some point in our career. And that's part of the journey. But that copying people stuff, like, it just comes with it. And I think that as people who are more mature in the industry, sometimes it's our job to both encourage people and push them towards originality and push them towards trying different things, while also not beating them up for doing what they can with what they have. So hopefully this was helpful. As I said, I'm going to be doing more of this in the near future. If you want to see more videos like this, you should go check out Patreon. If you pledge now to support, let's say at the $10 a month level, which is easily the most common, you immediately get access to all the Patreon videos I've made for the last year and a half. And so it's hours and hours of content. Highly recommend you go check it out. If you decide you don't love it, you can cancel that first month, and you lost 2 Frappuccinos and got a couple hours of videos out of it. So it's not a bad deal. Plus you're supporting this kind of stuff, podcasts, all that. Anyway, I'll shut up now, and we'll roll credits and shout out to the patrons. So talk to you later. Bye.